Okay, YouTube, I got a battle here against SaintSeiya. This is a pretty good battle. Got a short picture of my face, and we're starting. He leads off with a fortress, and I was curious what kind of fortress it is. And I initially, of course, threw out Porygon 2 to trace its ability. Um, I Thunder Waved just in case it has something special going on with it, and I might need it to be paralyzed for later in the game. But the Lumberry cured it. So it scared me a bit. I didn't understand. I was quite curious what kind of fortress this is. So I went straight for the Thunderbolt, hoping to maybe get some para hacks, see how much damage it did. Figured it couldn't hurt me with Gyro Ball, but it exploded, and the explosion scared me. I figured I might be able to live, but it got a crit, so I went straight down to 0, and we were tied again, 5-5, and he already has some rocks up. So it was a pretty good move on his part. He took out one of my stronger leads. So I go to I think, and he thinks, and we decide, and I go with Freyr, my Metagross. He's a choice banded bullet puncher, so he's pretty tough. Good surprise factor, and he throws in a Haunch Crow, and curious what type it was, I went for Ice Punch as it Dark Pulsed. I knew I would live either hit that it had, so I didn't really worry about it too much, and I knew the Ice Punch would one hit KO, so it brought me in the lead 5-4, and he was down a Haunch Crow, which I'm assuming at this point right now that it was a just a special sweeper, but I was very unsure. So he goes to an Electivire, and I knew that it probably carries Earthquake. They all do, just about. So I switch over to my Glisker to take it, and I got it right. He uses an Earthquake. It misses. Doesn't affect me. All that good stuff. So I decide that I'm going to switch over to my Odin. He's a Gyarados to take the Ice Punch that I knew was coming, and get some Intimidate in, knock it, lower it down some, then switch over to my Mixed Fire to get that speed boost in, and probably scare it off because he probably thinks I'll have an Earthquake. But he got a crit, which ends up being very, very, very game breaking in the later game. So I'll switch from Odin, go to Thor. My plan worked, and I saw 3 of his attacks, and he went straight for the Thunder Punch, raising my speed thanks to Motor Drive. That's a great ability that Thor has there. And I went for Cross Chop. I wasn't sure what he might bring in, so I went for Cross Chop just for safety. But he lived it with a little bit over half, and I figured, okay, I'll just finish this off next turn. But he gets an Earthquake, and I live thanks to my Intimidate support. But the lefties puts him just over half, and I was unsure. I thought that this might kill. Maybe I get a crit. I'm not sure. Thor's left for dead. I have no Rapid Spinner. There's nothing much he can do. So Thor dies. He goes down. It sucks. He's one of my favorite wall breakers in the game. And Electivire is sitting there looking pretty. Shiny Electivire really has nothing special. Blue eyes, blue tentacles. I go to Freyr, and he's only seen Ice Punch, so I went for Bullet Punch, knowing that he wouldn't expect it. And the Bullet Punch obviously KO'd the Electivire. It wasn't a big threat to me, but I took it down, and he thinks for a second, actually a long second. He waits, and I just sit back, and he throws in a Weavile. And I thought it was strange throwing in a Weavile against a Bullet Puncher, so I assumed it had a Sash, and I was pretty sure it had a Sash, but I didn't see how it mattered much. Weavile's still not going to touch Metagross with either of his attacks, but he goes for the Night Slash, and it works. He doesn't KO, but he gets me down to the 90s, and I go for another Bullet Punch. I would KO, or even if he sharded me, it wouldn't matter too much. It wouldn't do that much thanks to not very effective and the fact that it's not banded. So he throws in an Alakazam, and I went straight for the Bullet Punch. I knew that after the Bullet Punch it would KO Alakazam, but he gave me a nice surprise when I saw that it lived with 1 HP thanks to its sash, which was pretty suckish. So the Shadow Ball went through and KO'd my Metagross, which meant I was down um, my Bliss Killer because this thing is just a beast. So I go over to Sajofin, my Blissey, and the rocks hit it some, and I went for Toxic, thinking it would KO the Alakazam after a hit if he stayed in, and if he switched, I would get some nice Toxic in, and it missed, which ends up being pretty bad for me later in the game. Didn't allow me to do the plan that I was thinking. He Psychics again, and I was surprised at how much damage those Psychics did, so I went for Flamethrower this time, just to make sure I killed that Alakazam, because I saw how much damage it was doing, and I figured if it went for Focus Blast, it would probably 1 to 2 hit KO me, especially since it outsped me. So he throws in his own Blissey, and initially I thought about it for a second, and I went for Wish, and to pass it over to my Gyarados, but he waved me, and I assumed that he would wave me or something of the sort, so I decided I was gonna leave him in and go ahead and use the Toxic I have to try to help my Gyarados take this thing out when I switch over. The Toxic hits, which was pretty good, and the Wish comes true, which restores my HP. And I go for another Wish, figuring I could probably outstall this thing if push comes to shove. But he aromatherapies, which is pretty good for some Blisses. If you're afraid of getting toxic stalled by another Bliss or any other Pokemon, I suggest you put aromatherapy on your Blissey. It comes in handy in the later game. I switch over to Odin, expecting him to I figured he might overpredict, and I accidentally forgot that the rocks were still up, and he lowers his attack, not attack, yeah, lowers Blissey's attack, which didn't matter too much, and Seismic Toss finishes off Odin. And I went over to Glisker, my Loki, and I told him on the Zat chat forums, Team Equinox, that Star Wars are no fun, and we both agreed that we would just run from this battle and make it a draw, since it was unsure who would win. So it was a good game. I hope to have another battle soon. Rematch, definitely. Rate, comment, subscribe, guys. Peace.